Whose barn is ready to get burned? Because we got one for you today, folks. And also, what year is it? Like, seriously, if you were to show me both of these builds with the blindfold on, although, how would you show me with them with the blindfold on? Anyway, you know what I mean. I would say, what is this, like 2018? Like, what are we doing here, guys? Serious throwback on this map, these two factions, these two builds. It's an interesting matchup. Historically, actually, I'd say has been Vampire Coast favored because the Dark Elves specifically have shorter range crossbows than, say, the High Elf archers, right? That interaction specifically here does matter because they get outranged by guns. And, yeah, 145 versus 125, whereas obviously something like High Elves at 160 outrange the guns. So because of that specific interaction, this definitely a very interesting matchup. Rider Rohan coming in high here, already getting bombed out by mortars. He's got a giant line of bleak swords and witch elves just ready to rush in and cleave through as many zombies as quickly as possible. Dark shards to back them up, Supreme Sorceress of Fire for additional chaff clearing. Dark riders with shields here, 2 bolt throwers to keep things honest. And facing quite the classical gun line from Coast. Got 3 handgunners here, a couple of shotguns, a couple of bombs. The shotguns are maybe a little bit new school. I mean, they always existed, but they were pretty bad before. Some deckhands up front. 5 of them, dual hand weapons, animated hulks, and rotting Prometheans. The Prometheans are certainly more traditional. The animated hulks are also, again, sort of new school good, although new-ish. That was quite some time ago. Mortars also here, a couple of them to kill archer-type units. Crossbows specifically here. Let's get things rolling. Yeah, they already did one in, so they've been routed off quite effectively. And Rider Rohan walks forward here and then kind of countercharges, or feints, if you will, away. Maybe not countercharge, it's not the right word. That's when you charge the person who's charging you, but a brutal burning head there to just finish one bomber mob to significantly lessen the damage they're going to do. This one wasn't quite fully nerfed, still was able to come in, do some really good damage to those witch elves. This one here gets full contact on that witch elves before being slightly crisped by a burning head. But yeah, both magic on both sides are going to keep the health bars up as the animated hulks crash on this flank here. Witch elves taking significant damage here, and it's a lot of value damage, especially initially for the Dark Elves. But wherever they are able to get through, they're going to win so decisively in melee that it will start to not matter too much. The Vampire Coast player here also getting a little bit overconfident, perhaps, with the Lamprey's Revenge, throwing them directly into 2 Dark Shards here. They do manage to rout those Witch Elves, more summoned Prometheans. Maybe we can overrun, actually, into these 2 Dark Shards, which would be quite effective. But yeah, things are looking a little bit dicey right when that very strong of army abilities, Murderous Prowess, kicks in. And that is going to give Dark Elves a huge power spike here, especially as Rider Rohan activates these Dark Riders. I know Battles, he was saying on stream the other day, he's not a big fan, but this right here is why they're good. 50 charge bonus, especially in a late game when you have Murderous Prowess active. They can come in, clean up weakened units like it's nobody's business, get on skirmishers potentially here, but the Fleet Admiral with polearm does come in close. Looks like the bombers might have turned to fire there. Yeah, the crossbows ending that pretty quickly. Van Horseman Speculum even. That is going to significantly nerf their stats, and yep, respect being paid by the Vampire Coast player here. But more Dark Riders in the backside going to be activated here to try and come in and maybe silence what's left. Keep in mind, too, we have all these Witch Elves coming in for another go, and they have a Murderous Mastery, which means their uptime of this power spike is going to be much longer. 58 melee attack with Frenzy and Murderous Mastery active. Not to mention, of course, they can activate Witch Brew for some additional power spike here. This Dark Rider gets crushed a little bit by these animated hulks. Then we're going to see just such a Witch Brew activation as even more Witch Elves close in here, maybe? Maybe. Looks like, yeah, those Witch Elves, we're going to peel into those zombie deckhands, but the speed difference as well, Witch Elves being able to just run in and completely juke zombies, outmaneuver them, 100%. Dark Shards, Bleak Swords also both have fast enough speed to basically outmaneuver zombies here, so yeah, it's going to be quite effective. But Witch Elves, with all that, 82 melee attack, 64 weapon strength, just absolutely seal clubbing these animated hulks, shanking all the tiny shins. I guess giant shins. What are their shins? Are their shins really just like ship parts? Who knows? Never looked at an animated hulk's shins before, but you know, it's the first time for everything. Bolt throwers also starting to make some really nice contact on the enemy mortars here. Yep, looks like some pieces is being destroyed in that volleys. I think maybe all the pieces destroyed possibly now, but Dark Rider's certainly coming to finish the job. And quite suddenly, balance power shifts. A lot of the Vampire Coast stuff just kind of crumbles into dust, and we're left with some very wounded Wood Elves, or Witch Elves, rather. The Wood Elves hiding somewhere in the trees there, no doubt ready to just finish whoever's victorious here, but nonetheless, Dark Elves able to prevail here. Just one healthy Rotting Promethean that's basically been ignored the whole time. This other Rotting Promethean here also just getting kited out into oblivion. Bolt throwers can switch on to their anti-large shot. They've been honestly kind of spreading their damage around on different damage types, but did end up basically paying for themselves. Maybe not quite in terms of value, raw value. Certainly tactically helping to finish off some key units here, and also just apply that attacked by artillery leadership debuff, which is definitely substantial. If I come in here and look at the Rotting Promethean's leadership, come on, there we go. Get a couple of bolts to land, and you can see there, maybe, is it not proccing on them? Is that only on living units? It says attack in the flank. Anyway, maybe I'm completely wrong. I need to reevaluate things, but yeah, it doesn't look like, normally you would see two separate modifiers for the crossbows and for the Reaper Bolt throwers. So is that a modifier that's just not applicable to? Interesting. I'll have to research that a little bit more. Used to be that it would show you. Maybe it's a bug with the new UI, perhaps? I don't know. Anyway, used to be that you could see actually like, oh, attacked by artillery or attacked by missiles, which are two separate things, basically representing small arms and artillery fire, but you do see another Rotting Promethean summon there, Lore of the Deeps. Maybe would have been better to have Lore of Vampires for healing and for summons. Obviously, zombie summons helping to kind of sustain a gun line, helping to provide some extra bodies on it. One reason why, what's his bucket? So good. Noctilus, Count Noctilus. He's obviously got the summons, he's got Invocation from the Heck. He's also got one of the best spells, which is Melkoth's Mystifying Miasma, for just doing a little bit of chip DPS, especially to high-value infantry. Cavalry that has relatively low HP, certainly Dark Elves could be bringing some of that in. But things have flipped with that summon. Wow, you see how the balance power was in Vampire Coast's favor with the summon. Rider of Rohan able to wait it out and use his other units to keep fighting here, while he just waits for the summon to decay. It then does. A bit of Burning Head here to speed the Prometheans rotting on the far side, while the Admiral here on the near side is just routing whatever he can. Not the Pistol Admiral, which would maybe be a little bit of extra benefit. He could actually get some passive damage as he's running around here, rather than having to only fight in melee. Obviously, the anti-large AP does mean if anything does come to fight him in melee, he's basically going to be immune to it, right? Like, he pretty much has to be shot by Rider Rohan here, which, thankfully, he's got this one healthy artillery piece. All 4 unit models still online. And although it's technically anti-large, at this range, they're certainly accurate enough to hit the Admiral, which is the most important thing, is just getting hits on him. It'd almost be better to not engage him in melee at all, right? Because, oof, a little bit of friendly fire there, very Dark Elf thing to do. That guy definitely deserved it. But the thing about him fighting in melee is he does have the hunger, which is going to passively regenerate, obviously, the more he's fighting in melee. But we'll see. It is possible, though, you know, with how close things are, it's going to be quite the nail-biter for a finish here. We'll continue fast-forwarding. More bolt shots land, more crossbow shots land. Once he gets into contact with the bolt throwers, that's when the sorceress is going to charge down, try to sacrifice a little bit of HP. Another nice tide call there. Routing that unit. Got one more unit here, and look at that. Bolt thrower's able to somewhat get away as he kind of sits momentarily. A little bit of rear charge. Ooh, nice charge damage on that 50 charge bonus from the Supreme Sorceress. Not bad at all. Definitely a good chunk. 70 armor on the Vampire is a decent amount, but it's not so much that her attacks are going to be ineffective. Definitely will be effective, especially over time as he's chasing here. If she's able to get good connection, that charge bonus did not. He was able to turn around in time and use that charge defense. So a little bit of a risky biscuit here, but all this time also is letting the Reaper Bolt Throwers continue to pull away. And the Dark Shards eat the other Tide Calls, so these guys can get their chance to fire free. A few more hits, very accurate at close range. Good chunks, and all it takes is getting his leadership to crumble. A little bit of Burning Head just to help such an occasion. Flanks exposed, debilitated, burnt. He is going to pop his own innate leadership debuff, or buff, rather. But, yeah. Looking pretty bad for him. One more charge into the breach. That should do it. Yep, leadership goes. Oof, a little bit of friendly fire there. Got to be careful. That's it. Once it's crumbling, it's all over. There you go. Quite the battle, quite the finish. Fun matchup for sure. Quite a classic one. And a good throwback. Definitely makes me happy to see these two factions duking it out, and it coming down to the absolute last. Those bolt throwers and the Supreme Sorceress absolutely clutching it out. And that one bolt thrower that hangs around to the end almost doubles its value too, which is just fantastic. Great to see the Dark Elf Artillery, unsung heroes as they are, get such great value. Certainly a matchup where they are, I would say, essential for not getting just completely destroyed by range of the Vampire Coast. 325 kills also for the Admiral of the Deeps as he's calling upon his idle magic. Bombs pretty much all pay for themselves, more or less. The handgunners also, decent job all across. Just decent value, honestly, spread around. The only thing really is the Rotting Promethean, surprisingly limited here. That is one effect of having such good AP crossbows, despite the fact their range isn't great. What they do shoot, they will kill. They actually do pretty good value here. But, yeah, overall fun matchup for sure. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you like this sort of content, be sure to like, subscribe, hit that bell notification button. Every time I upload a new video, you'll be notified. Thanks again. We'll see you next time.